Hi, guys, and welcome to the Overcomers podcast. Hi, guys, and welcome to the Overcomers podcast, the first episode of this podcast. And I'm so excited. I hope it will impact you, viewers at home. I hope you will like, subscribe, share on this video. Today, we are talking about the most important topic, social division. We'll be unpacking, and Lerato Moyo is here to unpack this topic with us on how it affects our mental health and the effect it has on our well-being, as we'll be creating awareness and mapping a way forward on how we can reduce and eradicate social division. Welcome, Lerato.
Thank you so much, Lesego, and thanks for having me. And ke dumedisa le babugi ko gae. Good day, everyone. My name is Lerato Moyo. I'm a social worker and a psychometrist by profession, and I'm registered with SAC, SSP, and HPSA. And then they are the professional body that regulates us. And we also are situated in Tlhabane in Rustenburg at the Tiro House. That's where I have my practice, and I offer counseling for couples, for individual sessions, face to face. I also do teletherapies, and also often I would unpack topics like this one visually with other specialists. And I also work with different companies in terms of offering employee health and wellness services to their employees. Thank you so much, Lesego.
You're looking beautiful, by the way.
Thank you very much.
Today's topic is a topic whereby Motuakare, you know what? I wanna hear what this woman has in store for us, because it's a very interesting topic. It's what we experience on daily basis as the country, as the society. And without a waste of time, can you tell us what do we refer to by social division?
Thank you. Wow. I think one of the reasons I was so happy when I heard you saying we should talk about this is because it's one of those things that we hardly talk about. But what it refers to, I'm gonna just try to, define it according to what literature say, because I don't want to take it just from my head, just using the words that I understand. So basically, what it refers to is the divisions in the society, whereby that are associated with particular social groupings. So in terms of advantages and disadvantages, inequalities, and also differences. So basically, we're speaking what separates us, what makes other people feel more disadvantaged, and why are other people more advantaged. So we'll speak more about it then when I'll peg more, but definitely that's what it refers to. So basically, why social division refers to the separation, what separates us from each other as individuals, as human beings. Yeah.
And then what lead to social division?
Oh, there's quite a number of things, if I may put it that way. There's different factors that might lead to social divisions. Just to name a few, let's talk spirituality. It's one of the things that might divide us. The fact that we've got different spiritual backgrounds and we believe in different things.
Yes.
And also the culture that we are from, political status, and political affiliation. Also, if I may add, the ethnic groups. I get there's this thing, maybe people would have some stereotypes or generalize a particular group of ethnic group to say Botswanas, they are like this, or hey, Machangane, they are like this, or Tsongas are like this, or Vendors are like this, like that. Yeah. And also, I spoke about ethnic group, I spoke about spirituality, and I think another thing, I spoke about cultural background, and also political status. I spoke about political affiliation and age. The fact that we're different as age group, or somehow you might find that my child or my son might be kile 2000. So, my 2000, we find it difficult to relate somehow because of where we're coming from, how things were done in the past and now. And then also the disability. People living with disabilities as well find themselves somehow badly disadvantaged
Yeah.
or separated from the society. So basically disability, and I guess if I'm forgetting something, but I think
Even
that's basically tribalism as well.
Yes.
Yes, there's quite a number of factors that can separate us as social economic status. Definitely, it's one of the things that separates us. Yeah, that's what I can think of right now. But there's quite a number. I'm sure our viewers can think of a whole lot of things that can separate us. Not only what I've mentioned, but that's it's lengthy list there. Yeah.
Can we go a little bit more religion?
Okay.
Explain to the viewers, how does religion separate us as individual?
Wow. Okay, thanks for that. It's actually one of my favorite topics. But I never want to narrow myself down to say religion. And my reasons are religion, man, it's limiting. Because if you understand religion, it's got the principles, it's got standards, it's got all this that things that might limit you as an individual to actually reach out and try to understand more of what spirituality is. So I honestly prefer to speak of spirituality than religion. So basically, you said religion, and maybe most of the people understand spirituality as a religion. But for me, my understanding is that religion is just one facet of developing yourself spiritually. So people think that religion is spirituality. And when you're saying you are a spiritual being and I'm a spiritual being, it's not a religion. No.
Yes.
Religion is one way of developing yourself spiritually. There are quite a number of things. Like, for instance, a traditional healer or whatever other practices they are doing. It's one way of developing yourself spiritually. We can never use only one religion to say we defining as spiritually. So I mean spirituality. So spirituality it's an umbrella according to me, and religion is just one facet of
Yes.
developing yourself spiritually. So I wouldn't really say I would define my understanding of spirituality ka religion. However, coming back to your question, yes, religion it separates us because at the end of the day, you'd find that nna ke mo ZCC, wena o mopostolo, mama nke mozalwane, and the other one goes to a different denomination or church, and as a result, you feel like yours is the ish.
Yeah.
And you feel like you can drag everybody to your church because, yeah, it's my church. Everybody believes in something that they are doing. So, hanji, you feel, man. So, why can't people? So, in that way, we find ourselves divided because, like, if you no, now I'm this. I go to this church and it's okay to go to this church. But the minute one makes you feel like, or this is the one, and yeah, we should go for this, you end up doing what? Okay, maybe some people fight. I mean, check issue when we speak spiritual or when we speak at the religion. How many people fight? What do you think would happen if you were to put kireng muruti kireng kereke ya bazalwane and a pastor from Apostolic Church or ZCC, if you put them in the same room and try to have a conversation around that? Usually people would fight. And why? Because of the religion. Mara, in most cases, there are other churches which I won't mention by name because we're not here to insult any church. There are other churches that would usually speak ill of other churches, and that way, that's what separates us. When I see you, I'm like, where's the game? Next. And that thing, irang separate as human being. Kante, we are more greater and we can achieve more when we are more united and we understand that it's okay to be different. Practice your belief system and I practice mine. But at the end of the day, we've got respect for each other because the main thing, in order to avoid those divisions, we must have respect and tolerance for each other's differences. I hope I answered your question.
and while we are still talking, like it takes me back to even in our families, you know, baba feng ba tlhomphiwa, baba feng ba tlhomphiwa, because now when you believe in this spirituality or wela ka fa ba bang ba wela or maybe o tsewa gore ga re mo utlwelle nkile bona because now you believe in other things that are different from other
and hey
le dichomi I guess I chomana le Lerato
Though
because
because
wow.
it's this church and I go to
Yes.
this church. So you see the separation, what divides us. And Ghana, we're supposed to embrace each other's differences because that's what makes life interesting. I mean, imagine if we were all the same. Why? It was going to be boring. It was going to be just normal. And normal is boring. We want unusual. We want things that's going to, dear shake a bit, dear surprise, and we want that. But I like what you said when you said from your home. I think the nicest thing about the families, especially black families, you find or you've got 5 kids or 7 kids, omolomong go to their own church. Ha ona bothata. Ankere it's their own understanding. Hore nna ke understand hore ke utlwa ke connect. I connect when I'm in this space. Whether wa phahla, whether ke kereke ya kana re bitsang ya bazalwane in English, ya salvation. Whatever church, now it's again, Lord, I must go to the field.
Yes.
And it really even in the workplaces, if you can check, because I'm also an employee assistance practitioner, I have also noticed that people become so uncomfortable seeing other people like when people are wearing the beads or whatnot. I feel like why should it bother me? Yeah, taxing. I used to be so uncomfortable. I'm like, yo, bathong. Like, what is this red things and whatever. And then, luckily the higher power in the universe decided, whichever way it did. And as a result, I had learned to look more deeper into my spiritual being and, feed that spiritual being. As a result, I had learned a lot. And when you learn yourself, then you start respecting other people's belief system. And then you start to be more understanding. And I believe spiritual awakening is one of the best way to understand yourself, to regroup, to be grounded, and also be in a position to be humble enough to respect other people. Yeah.
And then also, ke feel like when we're saying like nere se comfortable even in our taxis and all that, rona bazalwane, we wake up masigo ra rapela, and someone would feel like motho ona wa ntlhodia, or as I feel comfortable. Maybe imagine we went somewhere girls, and then you wake up when o bua ka di-tongues, but rona ra go amogela. But you can't accept others because you no feel like no na ya ka ke yone because na ke bua ka di-tongues ke connecta thata like I understand what you're saying gore pila if we can be spiritually matured, then those things re ka di tlhaloganya botoka gore ke space sa gagwe, or let him do that. Yes. And then also because we are in a village and mostly rona batho ba bantsho, we are faced with tribalism. Ke kopa o re na tsherenyana ganyane ka yona because it's something se leng gore it separate us every day. Kore o feel like when is this ending? Tribalism.
But yes. What is it? What is tribalism, if I may ask? Because I feel didn't it count back then? Now I feel like now we don't have a lot of that. So I find it difficult. I don't know on your side, maybe what would you say? But now I find it, now we are more comfortable and we understand things more. So I honestly don't experience that a lot. And maybe it's because now I'm not mostly more rural areas.
Yes.
So I'm mostly Kodi urban areas. But I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
I get maybe what were you asking,
yes.
basically?
Because lebella e maybe in the minds. Ne? Re tla go tla batho ba ko ba tlo hiriwa. Like we are saying this one is not mokhatla.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
King merafe yes mofokeng or yes ke mofokeng why a bereka ka mo bakhatleng
also ke ethnic group and na ke buang ka yona for na I speak ethnic when you speak
yes
okay.
Yes
thanks for that. I think we tlhalosa ka tsela engwe hape ene nna ke sa ilebella ka yona. So basically tribalism you referring to the ethnic the ethnic groups, the fact that wena re mochangane o ebile machangana ba tlile ba tlo re tsaela memmereko ma Somalia ing that is so true. And I think what may lead to that it's not being open-minded enough.
Yes.
Being open-minded and being wise, wisdom, it comes in. And like you were saying, both spiritual maturity and emotional maturity as well. Because when you open-minded, you allow other people to be themselves,
Yeah.
and you open-minded enough to avoid the stereotypes or to generalize. So the
Yeah.
minute re na le di-tribalism ko goreng ra generalize gore Basotho they do 1 2 3. Basotho, for instance, you'd hear this thing, people would say Basotho ke dinkabi, or Mazulu ke dinkabi, or ba reng ka Basotho gape ke bona ba ba rekisang patše, Masomalia ke bona ba ba creating 1 2 3. So basically generalizing and painting everybody with the same brush, I believe it's one of the things that might lead to that tribalism. And then as well, I think nako nngwe we want excuses. Remember poverty re rileng le apartheid e re gobaditse tlhaloganyo, like to such an extent that we feel so entitled that we want things to happen but we don't want to do much, and then when other people come we make excuses gore yo batlile Masomalia ba re tsela dishopo go tla Maxhosa ba from Eastern Cape, they come and take our job. But what are you doing? What are you doing? Mo gong ke feel gore it's just us making excuses of why we cannot do certain things, and we blame other people for that. Hence I'm saying when you're emotionally matured and when you show a high level of emotional intelligence, you wouldn't see it like that. Because remember, EQ speaks a lot about your emotional control and how you relate to other people. So if you practice that and you work hard to develop yourself or your emotional intelligence, then you wouldn't see other people as threat. You would see Lesego as somebody who can compliment you and even get better at some things. Not see the competency or capabilities that Lesego as something that can separate you or drag you away from each other.
And you spoke something about culture, and I want you to go deeper mo go yona, at least. Yes.
What's the culture in a lore shapa? Because hey, there's a thin line between culture and tradition. But yes,
I think I'm learning a lot today.
Well, culturally, tradition, they are not the same, and I'm not gonna go one-on-one and define them. But what I can say, cultural background is it's you're being gore no godisiwa yang, the customs and whatnot. As mosadi wa Motswana, o rutilwe eng, what were you taught and whatnot. And I think understanding your cultural background, your traditions or whatever that has to do with who you are as a Black woman or as whatever, white, Indian, colored, would give you so much confidence that you wouldn't doubt yourself if when we itlhaloganya. But basically, culture, there's a lot that we can say. I'm sure we ithutile dilo tse ngata ka being ngwanyana Motswana. Gore tse ileng gore le ga o ka fitla ko Joburg, you would still say bathong a gona morogo mo, a gona dinawa, you know, obviously a re sa apara ditshega. Yes, we're no longer wearing that traditional clothes, but there's quite a number of things that you were taught. There are values specifically tse ileng gore ke tsa Batswana, le di-beliefs tse ileng gore ke tsa Batswana. So what makes us different in terms of the culture, I would say those values and belief system and whatnot. However, as we grow older, we start unlearning and learning better ways of living. Ba bang ebile ga re sa di latella, mara o kry-a le gore at the end di na le gore di a re baisisa ko pele ko. Because basically our background, traditional background and culture has some positive way of showing us how to behave and uphold ourselves to the outside world, and which is good. Diani, Mayeli, they are still applicable to our lives even today. So there's a whole lot of things in culture. That's why there's a thin line between the tradition and the culture. But Yona, in terms of separating us as well, I think it's looking at maybe moto apere, let's say diaparo tsa Zulu, and you still don't understand or hey bathong ko KZN they still show their breast and whatnot. Kante bona ko bona it's very normal, you know. And there are certain things there, like for instance, Khonale Mazulu are one of the people that have so much respect for their traditions and their culture, and they still practice them with pride. I'm not saying other ethnic groups are not doing that, but I see them a lot, and I feel like besides bona go na le other cultures, but the other thing ka culture is that, you know, that thing ya gore a re batlo compromise. We don't want to compromise. We don't want to understand more of you. It means if usna understanding, what happens? It means you would be more, you won't be in a better position to tolerate somebody because of how mo tlhaloganye. Mara even in a relationship, I mean a simple
I was
relationship,
just
romantic
going there.
relationship, it takes that. Gore o tlhaloganye motho o nang le ena, o mo ithute, you learn a lot of things about that person. It puts you more in a good position to try and tolerate that person, to accommodate them, you know, because one of the things that causes the conflicts, it's not being able to accommodate each other, to tolerate each other, and to avoid what is not necessary or petty things, if I may put it that way. Yeah.
And I was about to go there because I once experienced that on my family, whereby there was a couple from different cultures. So it what caused a division in between them, because they were always fighting, because this one is from this culture, this one is from this culture. And maybe later on you will explain to us, or maybe advise on that one. When you meet someone from different cultures, how do you come into terms with the fact that so I need to do it differently? Because yeah, because they always say when you get married you are one. So that means I don't understand one, does it mean who's compromising there? Or what happens?
Yeah. That's a big question. I'm glad you touches on that, because one of my uncles, my uncle. Mara, I have to say this. You must make sure you must make sure you take Motswana, Lerato. You must take Motswana. And I'm like, but you forgot, I've got also Madi Amashona running through my bloodstreams when all the beds. So he used to say no. And when I come to dating and whatnot, then you realize that's why nare so.
Yes.
Because I'm attuned to this and it should happen like this. And I keep at the complications I'm curious. Why not? I feel like it's all about being open-minded, like I said, and allowing yourself to understand other people and also accommodate them.
But Lerato, when you are married, it's different. It's not only about you being open-minded.
Yes.
You must remember it's family is included. So that's what called this vision. Maybe your partner can say, no, I understand you, Motwaka, like
family,
yes, but no. O ka se laole ke mosadi.
Ko ntlong bo nna le rona na. Rona really too, most of the time they are not there. So why should we do dilo tse ileng gore we're trying so hard to accommodate them? Remember something, your family, your parents and whoever will follow what you want. If you say I've chosen Lesego and Lesego is from Zambia, it's okay. It's okay. They would say if when I doubts and you are unable to protect your partner, then they will do as they please. Mara when if you say that won't come between the two of you.
I think this one is a topic for another day.
Yeah.
We must bring one of the parents here, because I know it has caused a lot of division between families. I know about more. I cannot say how many families, but I know a lot of families whereby other parents maybe or uncles and whatnot, they say we can't, and then now you are one. You've already agreed to marry this person. So let's leave it that for now. Then we'll
focus on
we'll focus
social divisions instead.
Yes. And then how does it affect our mental health?
Sure. I think already as a society there's a whole lot of demands. I think the political status already, the economy, there's quite a number of things that are happening. And I feel like if we direct our energy to, being of good support to each other and understanding what are mental illnesses and how do they affect us. And I think we will be more far in a better position than directing our energy to dipolotiki, currently and whatnot. I know we've got problems, a whole lot of social issues that are happening, such as unemployment, crime, and whatnot. And already, I feel like already there's a whole lot of things that we're dealing with in terms of the challenges of society in general. I mean, if already somebody was killed brutally, so as a human being, you sympathize, it affects you somehow, and the family. So if we try to understand, even if something doesn't affect me, it doesn't have to necessarily be my son who's using drugs in order for me to try to empathize with the parent wa ngwana o gore what might they be going through. So I feel gore basically the fact that it's all about maybe le nna go nne le financial gain and whatnot. We are focusing more on that instead of being there for each other. So I think her kona gore understand that yes, the reality is we are facing this as a society. Whether it's South Africa or anywhere in the country, we are focusing this, I mean, in the world, we are focusing on this and this and this. Mara, re ska lebalana, let us not forget about other people. And I think the other thing is, I don't know, there's a silent killer, yeah, being emotionally codependent on others. And how can I put it? Like, ka ngwana gago, for instance, like as parents or even in relationships, you find or you are codependent, emotionally codependent on your partner. So as a result, what happens? The energy, or rather say, whatever that's supposed to be you focusing on you are unable to do that because the focus is more on your child to make sure they are okay and whatnot, and you end up neglecting yourself. And then as a result, I'm comparing that with what you're asking me, Hore, in terms of mental health. How are we not doing well on that? And how is that? How can we link the topic here to daily emotional, barking mental health? So basically, mental health and social divisions. We cannot even say when somebody feels excluded, when somebody feels separated from the rest, or somebody feels ill-treated due to their
rejected,
disability, rejection, or emotional neglect, or whatever, chances are obviously they will suffer mentally. So that's why there's a link. We cannot even ignore that there is a link between the two.
So what you're saying is that gore maybe for example we reject someone or someone is being abandoned because of maybe the way ba believe ka teng. That means gore that person can also go through depression and all that.
Definitely.
So gore as the society re na le mmereko montsi.
Thata.
Because mostly when we see
lot.
someone going through depression and other mental illnesses, we don't necessarily think of other things like social divisions. We think of maybe relationship, ba mo
hetile.
hetile, mojolo o etsang. And you know, it's not ga nke re gopola gore maybe the root of this might be maybe ko gae the way ba mo tsang ka teng because of maybe or different from bana ba bang.
Mara yona it's issues of mental health usually they come a long way. When we speak mental health, there's a whole lot of things that we can talk about. There are those ones saying people are born with, like mental illnesses that people are born with. There are those that I believe people have, how can I put it, developed because of their experiences and the situations that they had come barracking to experience, and a whole lot of things. However, I think gore mental health yona ka bo yona, it's something se ileng gore se tlhoka nako man. It's we can unpack it as a topic itself.
Yes.
But in terms of social divisions, definitely there's a link. Yeah, there is a link. But I think the understanding and giving mental health more attention. However, you spoke about rejection, I think. I think with regard to rejection, it goes a long way. Let's speak about this young man who's was rejected maybe by their father, for instance, or their parents. It means this person had developed or suffered emotionally, childhood emotional neglect. And obviously, it goes a long way. And what happens to that person? They would usually, hurt people.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's an automatic thing for when somebody is
most
ahead, but in most
cases,
cases,
yes.
we find ourselves not knowing how to be loving, how to be this and this, how to be good or nice towards other people.
You cannot deposit what you don't have.
Yeah, thank you so much. So basically, it's not an excuse, Mara, to be, a mean person or was impolite. Mara, I would say it's some of those things they go childhood thing and they go with you and they somehow affect you even in your adulthood. Yeah.
And then antse go bua, I was reminded of this young girl. Once e kile a mpolelela story sa gagwe, she's a lesbian. And then ko family ya gagwe o wa rejectiwa because now she's different from others. Go na le tsele le tsele and all these things. So kore when you see her, you see someone e leng goreng like she's always angry. She doesn't love people and all those things. Whereby go lebella wa bona gore the cause of this might be because of the way a tshwereng ka teng ko gae. And then mostly as Black people, we don't, especially parents ba rona ba kgale, ga ba lebelle dilo tse gantsi ba di etsang gore di na impact e kanang kang mo maphelong a bana ba bona. You know, ga ngwana le different, they were like, kore hanke go na le that thing ya gore they call that child to say, like, how are you? Like, the way batho ba go treatang ka teng, o e tsayang, like, o kila bona? Ba batla go itse gore how are they doing? Ba lebeletse the way a leng ka teng.
I think our parents they're big. Like, I don't like blaming parents. I believe they did what they thought was best. And we can never allow ourselves to go with that hate in our heart or bitterness based on the fact that somehow we feel or our parents didn't do enough or didn't do this. Like where I'm standing, I feel like my parents did what they had to do and they were not perfect parents, but it's okay. They did it whichever way they thought it was best. Like you would laugh, the other day I was telling my son, Mona, you are teaching me how to be a parent, so bear with me. So basically that's what it is to le batswadi ba rona. I feel gore and maybe you said something gore she's not loving a loving person or maybe not necessarily she's not loving, maybe she's just delivering what she knows and what she thinks is enough for the society.
Yeah.
Not necessarily gore ga rate batho. But the other thing, and I am so happy you brought that thing, LGBTQI community. It's one of the factors that I forgot that divide us. And I think the reason it divide, like both parties, let me say, ke motho o kereng, who's homosexual and heterosexual, we are not allowing ourselves to understand each other. And in terms of most, I'm sorry to say this, LGBTQI communities, I find most individuals don't want to understand gore go thata for rona. It's difficult for us to try and come to the party because it's like it's something new because people were hiding it. It's not new in terms of gore no go sna gay. There were no gays and lesbian back then. They were, but it was difficult for people to come out. So it's more like you saying wanting me to understand gore my yellow bone a pila. And then so you wanting me to understand your point, but you're not trying to understand my point. Because there's this I was conducting a training and one of these attendees is like, nna tsatsi le leng ne ke tlhapa and then ke tlhapa ke moshimane ke a tlhapa and then lesego wa tsena and lesego nna uncomfortable and ka iputsisa gore why a tshwantse nne no lesego is not supposed to be uncomfortable. Like you are forcing lesego to understand gore this is who you are and whatnot, but you don't want to understand why lesego are uncomfortable. It's because we're still learning as a society where there are gays and lesbians and trying to be comfortable around that. So yona ya re divide that because it's like bona on their end lona alena sepele rona ale batho ra accommodate and whatnot. And ba bang ebile they try to force it or get that gender. There's no third gender but home. Nna go ya ka nna di gender di two. You are either pregnant or not, or can you be partially pregnant? You can't be
Yeah.
So you either pregnant or you're not pregnant. So you either male or female. It's not a gender, it's a sexual orientation. So I think that thing ya gore go na le gays and lesbians, some people go far about and wanting us to understand gore a man ke third gender, I said third gender, third gender. So I'm speaking in terms of bona, but on the other hand, the hate that comes from most people who are straight, Leon, it's actually not nice. And it's like you're saying wrong when. It's like saying somebody's an introvert, the other one is extrovert. Can you say who's wrong and not wrong? Maybe somebody might feel or when is an extrovert or wrong wabora, you stay at home, and the other one ki introvert or fun and outgoing. No, we cannot really say that. It's okay to have imagine if now everyone will go tlapong. What was going to happen? Overcrowding and whatnot.
Yeah.
And there are those who are, it's okay, they can go there and have fun. So it's okay to be different and we need to respect that. So LGBTQI communities, Leona, LGBTQI, it's just one of those things. And if we just try to accommodate each other, tolerate because tolerating each other. Tolerance, you are at a point where you are like, I don't understand. Mara.
Yes.
I respect that.
Yeah.
Yes. Fair.
And then you said something about being open-minded. I think if you are an open-minded person, you will try to
accommodate.
Okay. Yes. Because wow, especially bana ba rona ha ba bona batho ba different, sometimes they would say. When I was saying that the church, why it's a lipstick?
Seriously? Yes. But you do apply lipstick, right?
No, not bona the other gender.
Oh.
So kono bona go different. Mare eno makaletse why it's a lipstick. I think for others na bothata because maybe ba se
Mare no like you mona sa lo monyane. Imagine rena re ba bona re hodile bjana.
Yeah.
Do you understand? It becomes more difficult to be more accommodative. So I'm saying our children, especially those who are young, are more in a better space to understand. They're gays and lesbians and than not the way we are so discriminative now because we grew up not understanding that.
Yeah. And then that it's the hate I think it's about because mostly ben na gore mara o different mara ga re itse gore re mitsang so because ba bangwe ke gona di tlhagela mo rona ke gona oh okay so it needs us to level up gore this is what is happening
and beyond powerly change.
Yes.
Because change is very, very difficult. If you have to change from your old ways of doing things. I mean, we say, in the 90 days rule, it can take 45 days to actually unlearn and another 45 days to learn the new ways of living. And how open-minded enough, very definitely you will try to learn new ways of doing things. Because, I mean, we're talking about some evolution. We evolving as human beings. There's so many things that are changing. Arsa besa mollo ngere no hona le distofo hona le eng. So we still saying arsa tlogela meetlo ya rona, but hona le dilo tse leng gore arsa dira ka mkho because we understand it's more convenient to have stove. Aksa fatla ke mushi and what not kila. So ra evolve. And talking about evolving as well. I think re lebetse go bua ka gender. I don't know if I mentioned gender.
You mentioned it, Moyo.
Oh, yes. Is it okay if I
No, you can.
Okay, thank you. Gender, I've had so many sessions whereby I've learned something very new to me. We always say men are providers but I think I've had couples, more than 4 couples whereby women are employed and men are not employed. And they've been together for years, like 3, 4, 5 years and whatnot. So I'm just emphasizing issue of the world, there's an evolution and we need to try and be on par with that and go about learn new ways of doing things. And as much as it's something new, if it works for you, when a partner, how it's okay.
We shouldn't men will love you for that.
Men will love you for this. No, I'm not saying we're not a provider, but what I'm saying is that but why allow people to define certain things for you? Because people would say culture favor basadi. Banna basadi. That's what people would usually say. Favor banna basadi. But that it's somebody who said culture ke eng, tradition ke eng. People came with that. And if somebody came with that, it means there might be change as long as it works for us. And then when you grew up, they belong to this particular church. Mara, no, You can go to different churches. You can go to Bazalwane ka apostol o mongwe ya Z. O mongwe a nwa ditee ka ntlhela, o mongwe kueletse mpepho ka ntlhela. It's okay. Wa ntlhaloganya?
Yes.
Yeah.
So le yona kganya ya gender, it's ke tlhoba boroko. Because I was saying gore like men will love you for that. Because tsena mo di social media platforms. It's there. O kry ebile o le mosadi o ibuelela gore men must do this. O kry di attack because wow, batho ba believe gore no man, even the Bible is saying this.
Gore men must do what?
Hey,
Ba re ba ireng banna.
they must provide. They are the heads.
No, it's good. There's nothing wrong with that. I think dilo tse ding di batla o di tlhaloganye as long as wena le partner ha o le dumellana and di etsa sense to
Yes.
like okay, sorry to interrupt mara if e le hore wena o na le your own way of submission as a woman, hore me submitting to my man, what does it mean? And ya le berekela the way you doing it, wa ntlhaloganya. But nna for nna submission e ka senne hore Lerato ke ena tshwantse ire di house chores because ke mosadi. There's so many ways to show hore I'm submissive to my partner without necessarily go gateliwa gore hey, washing ke how you must wash the dishes, you must do what you must do what. Even when you're tired, you must bath the kids, you must ensure the homeworks are done and whatnot and whatnot. No. I wouldn't say that. There's so many ways of it. Goes a long way. It goes a long way. Same as intimacy. Ape intimacy arbolele ka ing fela bedroom activity. There's a whole lot. It goes out even outdoors. You can barking show your partner. You can be intimate, holding hands and whatnot. That touch and whatnot. So you're the complex. And we shouldn't narrow ourselves down to the way the society describe it. Little borana, if you allow society to describe your relationship and define how you should do things. If wena monna ke head ke leader, we tlhaloganya ka tsela we tlhaloganyang go siame. Now I still maintain that. I'm very traditional man. I'm still maintaining that where he's a leader, he's the head, but it's okay if he's not in a good space financially, it's okay. I would rather build with him than finding everything ile ready nkemetse ke sa itse le concrete e go na le ingredients tse di feng be ke no e reka go shopong ke aga ka yona.
And then also as a counselor, how how do you deal with such things whereby maybe couples come and ba bua ka dilo tsa mofuto ntseng jalo, maybe go na le a division or maybe quarrels between them
or conflict, yeah.
Conflicts, yes. Conflict between them based on the gender, you know.
If you touch on that ongoing hostility in most relationship, it's that thing, yeah, I believe not being emotionally matured or not allowing yourself to be accommodative and tolerate each other. And basically when I've got sessions, I would definitely want to understand your ways of doing things first, obviously, and come up with whatever ways that I think. And usually I wouldn't say, nah, I give you this.
Okay.
Because remember, we contextualize a situation or we customize the service according to client how. Or you check them, you check the way they see things, the way they view the world. And that's why usually I would have them individually. Because if you get to do the counseling session or therapy session, immediately about to only problem, you need to understand who's Lesego, who's Tabo. And as individuals, by influences again, background young, then you take it from there. Because based on that, you can give advice sharp and understand, or okay, as a couple, how are they functioning? What are some of the things that stands between the two of them? Or an ongoing hostility or conflict amongst them. Then you advise based on that. But in most cases, we would advise in terms of your old ways of doing things, how you can unlearn them. And I would usually make them write down or okay, what do you think? What do you want to see? What is important to you? And separately so. And when you bring them together, usually you'd find out their similarities. Yeah. And then we add there and there. But if difficult, but usually direction I get it from client.
From them. Yes. The reason why I'm asking is because mostly my guy friends, usually they will be like, no, I don't need therapy. I don't need to go to a counselor. That's where we are wrong. We think going for counseling and all that, it's you, Lerato, saying, Rorisan, do this. You must do this for your husband, for your wife. Mama, do this. And Refaila understand or no, o kile a bona like wa go letla gore o nne wena o mo tlhalosetse ka wena and all the and wena o tsa ntho ena from bona and then in fact ke bona tle ba ira everything because they ba go bolela gore ke batho ba mofuta mang and all those things tse ding go ba dira. So it's not about that. I think the viewers tshantse ba understand gore you as the counselors mere kwa lona ke eng not gore wa mmolella.
I think, yeah, thank you for that. So much. You are so right. Or I contextualize as and I customize according to your unique qualities and issues that brought you. And then I think the most important thing is to understand therapy is not about solutions. No, it's not. I would be lying. No. Hore o tla ka tsheko a fetsa go na le resolution. No, there isn't such thing. Like I would say, if you were asked to ask me, do you speak conflict management or conflict resolution? I definitely speak conflict management because I'm speaking of the process of you getting into that resolution. And the resolution, we find it difficult or I'm at the end point where I'm saying, we teach you, or not rather teach you, or how can I put it? We share advices or how one can be better in terms of coping with challenges or coping better with whatever is thrown to them. So basically what we do, we're not creating dependency. Reliant on you and keep coming back. Yes, at the beginning, remember, we still unlearning, breaking bad habits and learning new habits. So it makes sense to have, how can I put it, sort of a process or teaching them or going through that process. I can't learn new ways. We internalize because there are so many things that we internalize. Like I can't. Yeah. If I do this, so you need to kind of try to change. Some shift. Yeah, they are thinking into having more positive thoughts. So as a result, reinstill a more coping mechanism so that one can be resilient and so that one can be getting highly positive, man, so that already there's something that existing within them. Because if only negative, even if we can have 10 sessions, so we're trying to teach them to have positive thoughts and also to try and say, you know what, be resilient. How can you bounce back? It's not about saying you'll never experience problems. How are you going to ensure you're through and allow yourself to experience that and still be able to function effectively after that? So basically that is that.
No, I'm like, I want to go on and on, but looking at the time, we have to, maybe we'll have another session, another time with you. But
I hope I got offer more social division. We're still there, right?
Yes, we're still.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you so much, Lerato. Maybe you have a last message to our viewers at home. Maybe something said on advice relating to social division on how we can improve ourselves to even reduce social division mo maphelong a rona, even
Okay, I think the most important thing that I would say is that allow yourself to be open-minded enough not to be stereotypic or to generalize. And what divides us, it's not allowing yourself to tolerate others and understand others. Because if you understand others and tolerate them and be accommodative, you'll be in a position where the universe will throw the same. Because nobody's saying when you got it all figured out. It's okay to be different, and that shouldn't be a disadvantage to other people. Somebody's disabled, it shouldn't disadvantage them. Or somebody's gay or lesbian, it shouldn't be something similar disadvantage more community. Or somebody cannot afford boroto, and then there is that person who's actually buying booze for 20,000. You understand? Let's try to understand where they're coming from, because the minute you try to understand where somebody's coming from, it allows you to be at peace with yourself and other people and be accommodative and more tolerating. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lerato. Okay. Thank you so much, guys. I hope you have learned a lot from this episode, and then we will do so much better as the society based on social divisions. Till next time, Phiri mo Setswana mokgatla ke re ke Lerata rati.
The best captured.